Hello? Hello? I'm on? Good Shabbos. I'm going to have a few announcements to start the evening. Pam Henderson is teaching a series of Intro to Judaism and Intro to Hebrew classes on Tuesdays this summer through July 26th. Classes start at 6:30 and 7:30. Register on our website. Rabbi Axelrod is offering a part 2 to his popular Wrestling with God class. Register now on the CNT website for this Zoom-only class. The last session takes place this coming Wednesday, the 6th, 5:30 to 6:30. CNT's Adult B'nai Mitzvah students book drive starts today. Hosted by CNTers Ann Brandt, Libby Miller, John Henderson, and Val Calistozzi, the book drive is collecting books for Spread the Word Nevada, an organization that provides at-risk students with books to call their own and helps promote early childhood literacy. Please donate your children's books in the book drive drop box located in the main lobby through Monday, August 1. Help CNT Adult B'nai Mitzvah students help the homeless this summer. Outside the sanctuary, there is a box where you can donate men's shoes, bottles of water, and takeout containers. If you like to donate money to the cause, there's also a Venmo QR code by the box. Sonia Haggerty is one of the organizers, and she's offered to pick up the items or let you drop them off at her home. And Sonia can be reached. If you need her number, run me down later. The High Holy Days are approaching, and we'll be reaching out to you to gather information for our Yisker Memorial Tribute Book for 2022 5783. Look out for our Yisker Memorial Remembrance Reminder, and please review it for any corrections and additions. Initial the attached copy and return with payment. Now is the time to enroll in the Gary and Lynn Cantor Early Childhood Education Center's preschool. Schedule your tour today by calling the office, 702-733-6292, and inquire about early bird specials and referral program. It is booking up, and it's a great program. To shop at CNT Sisterhood, Mark L. Fine, and Family Gift Shop this summer, please call ahead for an appointment. Either Kathy Laninsky or Cheryl Cohen. Run me down, I'll give you those numbers as well. Proceeds help support Sisterhood's Fund for Youth scholarships for CNT religious school students. And the office will be closed on Monday, July 4th, in observance for Independence Day. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Well, I am excited to share with you that today marks the beginning of my 9th year at Congregation Near Tamid. So I just finished my 8th year, and we can begin the 9th. It's kind of crazy to think that I've been here that long. So what better way to mark that than with joining all of you for Shabbat services? So I'm joined tonight by 2 of our junior cantors. We have Maya and Hannah here, and they'll be joining us for some of the prayers. And we have Eddie on the piano, and it should be a lovely service. You may have seen someone walk up in the beginning and put something up here for us, and that is because my sermon, my Devar Torah tonight is... I don't want to say controversial, but something of interest. So if you watch the news at 6 o'clock, there was a little bit of something about it, and there might be more later tonight. So I want to welcome you all here and begin by calling upon the angels to welcome Shabbat, page 142, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom. השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. So you may notice tonight that we're going to use what I like to call Sinai melodies. It's a better word than traditional. I do that a lot in July. We kind of reset and we bring back some of the most popular melodies that were, and you know, we're used to bringing in beautiful new melodies, but sometimes it's good to kick it back to the days of old. So you may notice that, and I encourage you to sing along. So let's see, we call upon Kristen to light our Shabbat candles tonight on page 120. We begin with these words on 121. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And now we turn to page 138 as we welcome the Shabbat bride. We're going to be doing verses 1, 2, and 9 if you're following along, and we rise on verse 9. Not yet. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmianu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ol tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshvat achila. Lecha dodi Shabbat nekabela. We rise to greet the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Page 149 in the middle. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai hamari v'aravi. We remain standing for the Baruch Hu. Listening to my prayer. Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai. Please be seated for a moment. Page 151.
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives us. And more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form?
And so if it is your custom to rise for Shema, you can. But because you're sitting, you can also sit. It is totally up to you, as this is a prayer between you and God and the love that you share. So if it is your custom, please rise for Shema. If not, no worries. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated if you're standing. We continue with the Ve'ahavta on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך ולא חילת ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך וכשפך וקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי ואתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We read responsively with Hannah on page 157 in the middle.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say Adonai. There is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Umalchuto beratzon kibelu alehem, Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael lechanu shira, b'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam. Page 158. All right, we're a small but mighty crowd. I want to hear you. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi chamocha nedor bakodesh, norati lot osefele, norati lot osefele, yadai by bim bim bam, yadai by bim bam, yadai by bim bim bam, yadai by bim bam, yadai da da. Bye bye bim bum, yai die die bye bim bum. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi chamocha nedor bakodesh, norati lot osefele, norati lot osefele. ונאמר כי פד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We turn the page to Hashkivenu, our prayer that asks God to help us as we lie down tonight and protect us. And we ask God to give us empathy, compassion, and love in our hearts. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu Hashkiveinu Leshalom Ve'ha'amideinu Shomereinu Lechaim Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu Hashkiveinu Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. So we turn to our Amidah prayers on page 164. We rise, pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Sadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'socher Chatzei Avot V'imaot Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ava Ozera Umashia Umagein Baruch atah Adonai Magain Avraham v'Torat Sarah
Ata gibor le'olam Adonai mechayei hakol Ata rav le'hoshia morid hatal mechayei hayim bechesed mechayei hakol berachamim rarim somech noflim berofei cholim umatir asurim umekayem umatov lishenei afa michamocha bagevurot umitomela melech memit umechayem umatzmiach Yeshua b'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, הקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We continue in silent prayer through page 180, using the words on the right or the left side of the page, or the words within your heart. When you have completed your private prayers, please be seated. So we turn to our prayer for healing. If you're watching on the live stream, we encourage you now to put the names of those that you are thinking of in the chat so that we can read them aloud. If you are thinking of someone here tonight, maybe there's multiple people that are in your hearts tonight that are in the bed of illness and need your healing prayer, I'll ask you in a moment to share those names with us. Submitted to our office, we have Bessie De La Malera, Jean-Marc Chaubert, Logan Knapp, the Knapp family, Valerie Rocher, Steve Cohen, Angela Thompson, Ira Tishk, Regina Baker, and Yirmiyahu Ben Sarah, Jeremy Hutchings. Is there anyone in the congregation that would like to share a name of someone in need of healing? G. Gallo, Gloria Yolanda Mendoza Gallo, Steve Cohen, Stuart Baker and Mindy Nanny, Kurt Plotkin, Ryan McIntyre, Joseph Hodler, Paul Schiffman. Lucy Roth and Keela Lopez. Mi shebeirach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha those in need of healing with refuah shalema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Well, let's begin with an oi, shall we? You know, life is full of joys, but sometimes the J falls off and there's just a lot of oi, a lot to oi about. Last week, we found out that people with uteruses had lost their overarching rights to reproductive care. Oi. This week, the First Amendment got discombobulated when the Supreme Court held conventional Christian prayer above all other forms of free speech, eroding the separation of church and state. Oi. Let's make sure to make all of the Jewish, Hindu, Islamic, atheists, and any non-Christian child feel even more other. But then we got excited for a whole 24 hours because we found out we could eat Ben and Jerry's again. Joy! Only to find out this morning via Twitter that they still hate Israel and call it not in line with their views to sell their ice cream in occupied Palestine territory. Oi, so much to unpack there. My little family, already dealing with the wind knocked out of us with Jeremy's diagnosis, these headlines made us feel like we were trying to lift ourselves out of quicksand. Oy vey izmir. So here it goes, a deeply personal Devar Torah. It has been therapeutic to write, but the purpose of sharing these words is to leave us all reflecting on what's really meaningful in our own lives and what's worth fighting for. So here it goes. 3 weeks ago, I had just picked Emmett up out of his crib after his nap and my phone rang. It was a congregant who is an oncologist and was very determined to get to the bottom of Jeremy's rapidly growing thyroid. He said, "Jessica, is Jeremy nearby?" Holding Emmett, I rushed over to Jeremy's office. "Okay, doctor, we're here." "Hey, Jeremy, I'm looking at something called a large B-cell lymphoma. I'll want you to check into the hospital in the next 48 hours or so and begin chemotherapy. If you have questions, let me know." So we were speechless and full of questions. We didn't know what we should ask. We thanked the doctor and told him we would do whatever it takes as soon as possible. I hung up and Jeremy said, "I have cancer. Oh my God, I have cancer." Our whole life changed in a moment. We've been navigating it as well as possible. Every 21 days for the next 6 months. I thought this would be like an easy one to get through. Jeremy will spend the next 6 days in the hospital getting 24/7 chemo. Our lives turned upside down. It's a journey, but we don't want to be on it. Hannah, you want to help me read this?
As Jeremy was in the hospital for his first round of chemo, we learned that Roe versus Wade would indeed be overturned. We were both devastated, and it brought us right back to our last medical trauma, almost 4 years ago, when we had a difficult miscarriage. With my anger for cancer and my anger for the Supreme Court's decision, Rabbi could see I needed to write. Here's the op-ed that came from that writing. Some of this story you may know, so I apologize for the redundancy. But I think we need to talk about it. We need to both be riled up and have open minds and hearts. But we can't stop talking about it until reproductive rights are restored. Last week, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. That limited government restrictions on abortion. The decision gave power to individual states to pass laws to allow or restrict access to abortions. It is a problematic legislative shift that leaves redundant red tape for people in need of reproductive care.
At 31 years of age, having completed 6 years of graduate school, seminary, and 2 years comfortably settled in Nevada, here at my wonderful pulpit as senior cantor at Congregation near Tamid, my husband Jeremy and I looked at each other, and we knew it was time to start our growing family. 18 months of missed periods, lack of ovulation, and PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. We knew it was time to seek a fertility doctor. 6 months after that, we knew we were ready to implant one of our 3 healthy embryos using in vitro fertilization, or IVF. What we didn't know is despite a successful transfer and being over the moon with excitement for our future, heartbreak was upon us. At my 6-week checkup, there was no heartbeat. The Jewish high holidays were 2 days away, and I was needed to lead this congregation, so I chose to wait for the fetus to pass naturally. In total devastation, I carried myself through Rosh Hashanah and returned to the doctor between High Holy Days, only to find out that my body was not releasing the remains, and I would need a DNC, a dilation and curettage, which is also known as a missed abortion. The day after Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, I was admitted, and the fetus was aborted. It was the worst day of my life, but I was grateful for it because if I were not permitted to abort that fetus, I could have died. Once my body was ready, we tried to implant our second embryo, but our doctor was determined that it would not survive, and it must be disposed of. If I lived in a state that banned abortion, the disposal of that embryo with a 0% chance of survival could have been considered a felony offense. So as you know, our story is not all sad. Every embryo has a potential for life, and one beautiful life was made on this journey. We moved on to the third embryo, our last chance, and that embryo became a fetus that became our amazing miracle rainbow baby, Emmett. In Judaism, we call pregnancies like this rodef, meaning that the pregnancy is pursuing the health of the living, breathing person growing the fetus. Other examples of rodef pregnancies are anything from ectopic to disrupting the mental health of the pregnant person. The life of the living, breathing person takes precedence over what could potentially be life. For these reasons, and even a reason as simple as a person not wanting to have a baby, Judaism permits abortion. It was my understanding always that I was lucky to be born in a country that valued my religious freedom and being on equal footing as the opposite sex. I have always been proud to be an American because we have been a country willing to reflect, progress, and lay out a better future for the next generation. The overturning of Roe v. Wade has made me reevaluate all of that. Not only does it take away a pregnant person's right to decide regarding abortion, it has the potential to outlaw access to life-saving health care and health care opportunities that make the miracle of IVF possible. Without the ability to discard irregular embryos or perform life-saving operations on implantations that do not result in a baby, fertility clinics are at risk of even being in operation. Both the people who do not want to be pregnant and the people who do are between a rock and a hard place. So here we are, stuck, grieving the loss of control over our own bodies, scared for the future. We are anxiously wondering what's coming next. Are there additional personal rights and freedoms that we are going to lose? We saw even more this week. We are struggling on how to best raise our children in a country so fractured. These last few weeks, we have affirmed that our country values both guns without safety measures and health care without safety measures. What options would pregnant people have in states where abortion is now illegal? Especially those without the resources to travel to another state, which does allow abortion. This ruling will not stop abortions. Rather, it will only make circumstances unsafe. People will take dangerous measures to have abortions performed, or they will go to the hospital, but doctors and nurses will have to fight through so much red tape to perform life-saving abortions, and pregnant people may die waiting. They will die waiting. Putting up these barriers that are preventing humans from adequate and life-saving health care is against Jewish values. Not only is the right to an abortion a Jewish value because the life of the pregnant person takes precedence, but also because Judaism teaches that life does not begin at conception. It begins at birth. Moreover, the right to an abortion is also a Jewish value because human dignity and body autonomy is a Jewish value. So whether you were like me and needed an abortion to survive, or you are a pregnant person who does not want to be pregnant, what you do with your body should be up to you. Full stop, no questions asked. Since our government does not see it that way, this is our opportunity to raise our voices and speak out. The progressive Jewish community is, as this is an infringement on our constitutional right to freedom of religion. A synagogue in Florida has already sued the state and started an organization called HEART, Helping Emancipate Abortion Rights Today, which is aiming to defy theocratic tyranny of laws that clash with Jewish and other religions' beliefs. Feel compelled? Me too. So, sigh. As I was listening to my colleague, Rabbi Shira Stutman, on her podcast, Chutzpod, if you've never heard of it, you should check it out. She zeroed right in on these feelings, a feeling of denial. This cannot be what's happening. We cannot be stripped of our rights. It is not possible, is it? But we now know it is possible. And it leaves us thinking of the text, Hashivenu Adonai kekedem v'nashuva chadesh yamenu kekedem. From our High Holiday liturgy, it says, return us, O God, to the days of old, the days that we were feeling nostalgic for, when we progressed and we implemented what seems like obvious values and rights. Alas, that time is not now. So it's time to pull ourselves together and stand tall. To the one who makes peace, please give us courage not to be afraid, but instead to stand up, rally, speak out, teach our values to our children, and go out and vote. May we not sit idly by and accept this infringement on our basic rights, but instead do everything in our power to make a change. Shabbat Shalom. As we prepare to end our service, we go to our Aleinu prayer that reminds us that it is upon us to make a change. And if you are watching on the live stream and you are thinking of someone who is no longer with us, please put their names in the chat at this time. It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were freed to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise.
To us to own the vision, to answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a miracle world to raise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise.
Please rise for the Aleinu. V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We remain standing for our Kaddish prayer. Go ahead and turn to 598. Again, if there's anyone that you are thinking of at this time on the live stream that you would like to put in the chat as people you are remembering, please do so. Our community was recently bereaved, David Yabko, Brenda Tishk, June Roberg, Sarah Poster, Elenu Zilberman, and we observe the yortzites of Violet Advocate, Dawn Cleveland Arnold, Amy Beller, Susan Bennett, Dora Bernstein, Etta Borscher, Teresa Bosick, Alona Bricker, Harry Cheek, Lloyd Cohen, Marlene Diamond, Litzy Dewald, Don Eisner, Abraham Etkin, Joe Jean Caspero, William Goldberg, Sylvan Hannell, John Henderson, Barbara Jensen, Joseph Kahn, Jerry Kaufman, Rose Kestenbaum, Meyer Kinsler, Gary Knopo, Jack Kotlow, Fanny Leon, Julius Lerner, Susan Lerner, Ethel Marcus, Harriet Markowitz, Betsy McRitchie, Robert Mendelson, David Nathan, Leona Perlman, Leslie Ritchie, Dora Salmon, Larry Sasso, Jean Sachs, Aaron Shore, Sonia Smuller, Leonard Spector, Alvin Tenner, Jan Tenner. If there's anyone else that has not been named and there's someone that you're thinking of tonight, please say their names at this time. Janet Falbo, Rick Domnitz, Jonathan Watson, Ronald Saul, Barbara Jordan, Bianca Aton, Robert Roth, Moshe Dome, Geely Chen, Mike Sinderman. We turn to page 598 for our Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei jikudsha barichu, Leila minkol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, dami ran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. So for our Kiddush and Motzi, I don't have any honorees on the list, so we'll have our junior cantors join us for that. I want to again thank Eddie Birch on the keys on the piano for us this evening. I want to thank Lee for all the setup and the oneg that we're about to enjoy. Of course, we want to thank our shamus Dell. We want to thank our junior cantors. There was one time where I had a bat mitzvah that was beside herself while I was a student cantor, giving her Devar Torah, and I stepped up and did what you just did for me. So now it's come full circle. So thank you for that. Got to share my personal stuff with you, but I didn't expect that one. So thank you for bearing with me, not getting up and walking out. And God blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Al kein berach Adonai et yom haShabbat vayikadshehu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei peri hagafen. Amen. a few extra juices up here, so after the service, if you feel like you want to take one for Kiddush, feel free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We conclude our service with Oseh Shalom, a song for peace. May we all experience peace on this Shabbat and going forward in our lives. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Shabbat shalom. There's a lot of new faces tonight. I encourage you, if you see someone that you are not familiar with, please introduce yourself, wish them a Shabbat shalom, and exchange numbers so you can become friends. Shabbat shalom. Enjoy the oneg.